Hi guys, in this video I'm just going to talk you through a range of different ways to transfer an image onto a lino. Now one thing you might want to consider is the image would appear back to front if we just trace it directly on or draw it in the same orientation. I'll show you what I mean by that. If I turn this over, it's a photocopy. You can see the owl as you see through the paper. It's very faint, but you can just see through that the owl is backwards. This only presents a problem if your image has to be facing one direction. For example, if there was text and lettering within the design. In this case there isn't, so the first thing you can do is just freehand sketch and draw onto the lino. This will take a few more minutes than the next process. The next process is you can cut out your owl, position it on the lino and draw around it. Now if you're able to photocopy, this is a photocopy image of the drawing. If you're able to photocopy, if you wanted to change the scale, it's quite convenient because on a copier you can enlarge and reduce fairly easily. So I can just start drawing around with a pencil, whizzing around fairly quickly here because it's just a demo. And then you would go in and infill the details. So see what I just did there? I've just put my pencil over the top of the line. So I'm working roughly to scale. I could take measurements off here to make sure that I'm fairly accurate, but it doesn't matter if the design is slightly different because that's how we work when we are transferring. So in the next one I have a piece of tracing paper and I've largely traced the drawing already. You just draw with pencil onto the tracing paper, so your image will appear on the tracing paper. I've missed some of the detail but I can add that in afterwards. I then take my lino. Now, if I want to transfer onto here, I would have to draw on the back. At the moment, there's nothing on the back of the tracing paper. But if I start to draw a line and I then apply pressure on the front side of it, it will transfer below and it will transfer equally onto the line. I've done it onto the paper because it will stand out a little bit more for you. Now, because I've drawn on the top of the paper, and I'm going to write top, in another video I'll demonstrate this as well. You may have already seen it. If it doesn't matter the orientation, and remember a lino print prints backwards, I can put it onto the lino and then draw onto the back of it. So the drawing is on the other side. You can see the word top is backwards. And if I start to draw over my image, this is a fairly quick way to work and a good way to transfer. Let me just whiz through a bit. It's not going to be the neatest thing I've ever done because I'm doing it quickly, but you can see the image is coming through on the lino. Now I have another technique that you might quite like, another little block of lino. Here I have another photocopy and I have something special, a sheet of carbon paper. Now carbon paper has a surface on one side that will transfer when pressure is applied on the top. So if I put it down, face down, and I just draw a line, it appears that it's come through, but all it's doing is transferring things off this side. Now on this sheet, I found it in the department, knocking around, you can see all kinds of drawings. So a piece of carbon paper can be used time and time and time again. If you are using carbon paper, I suggest you cut out your design and then masking tape it in position. So if I pop it somewhere in position, I like to cut it down smaller than the block of lino so that I can see all the edges and I can check everything fits nicely. I'll then take my carbon paper, making sure that the right side is down. You can always practice and try that. Then start drawing over the top of it. So I'm just drawing over the line onto here. It's just like the tracing, but you can see the line is transferred. So if you don't have a sheet of carbon paper, another thing you can do at home is use your pencil and draw on the back of the image. If you see what I'm doing here, I'm just building up like a thick layer of pencil. And again, you'd need to tape this one in position. So if I pop this down now and I draw over the top, just in the same principled way as the carbon paper is working, the line will transfer because the pencil on the back transfers onto here. It's a lighter line, but you can see it enough and you can draw over the top of it. So whichever method you've used, you've transferred your image to the lino. Now you could have done it in a much more neat, quick, detailed way than I have. I've just thrown it in fairly quickly as it's a demonstrator. And I'm now taking a permanent pen. Now you don't want a really fine one and you don't want a massively chunky one. You want something just about in between. And what I'm going to just do is now fill in the drawing. This isn't essential, but if you are doing a reduction print, and a reduction print is when you ink it up and then print it and wash it after you've done it and then let it dry, cut a bit more out of it and then print on top of it. It's a way to get different colours in the work, and I'll demonstrate that as I develop this owl design. But if you want to do that, drawing in a permanent pen will make a massive difference to you, because you will be able to see the image after it's been cleaned. So I'm drawing in all the scales. Now at this stage, obviously you can still modify your design. And I've gone on off camera to fill in the whole design and draw it on. It's very similar, but I've tried a few modifications, like the feathery ear tufts some owls have. I might cut them off, but at this stage you can still modify your design. The next video will show you how to cut it.